a little bit of a risk in sort of, I mean, a couple of times you're referencing the genocide of the Jews to slavery. Seems like a little bit of a slippery slope there, no?
I don't even know how we can say that, actually, and I say that as a Jew. Have you read up much on slavery?
Yeah.
We're talking abject slavery, Dave. I mean, nobody's in a contest. Nobody has a monopoly on human suffering. If you started slavery in 1619 and you had 2.5 years, 2.5 centuries, and then at the end there were 4 to 5 million enslaved people, do you realize generation after generation how many millions of people we're talking about?
Right. Well, I'm not diminishing that, but you can also talk about the extermination of 6 million people and the amount of people that never lived because of that would be alive. Or your ancestors from Russia who were never given anything and came here.
But the Germans have paid reparations. That's kind of my point. The fact that Germany paid reparations, Germany has done full on mea culpa. Germany has done full on mea culpa, plus reparations, plus a guarantee that every generation theretofore would receive full Holocaust education. That's kind of my point. They cleaned it up. And the fact that it doesn't mean that they can make the Holocaust not have happened, but it has had a tremendous moral, psychological, and emotional effect reconciling Germany with the Jews of Germany and the rest of Europe. That's what reparations do. It is just like in a personal relationship. All that a nation is a group of people. So the same psychological and emotional and spiritual principles that prevail within the journey of an individual prevail within the journey of a nation. If you or I wronged each other, somebody was going to need to apologize in order for us to clean it up. And not only that,
well, but if you or I, but that's different than the collective nature.
But it's not. That's my point. Now, if you believe it's different than the collective, then you're right. But if you don't believe it's different than the collective, then I'm onto something.
Okay, so that just might be a fundamental difference, and that's fine. I mean, I don't think I'm guilty of the past of anyone else.
This is not about guilt. It's a difference between taking guilt and responsibility. There's difference. If you have a company that takes over another company, you inherit their assets and you inherit their debts. And so America inherited the debts of the South. And also there was a lot of, systemic racism that wasn't just in the South either. You know, after World War II, the German chancellors and prime ministers, there was a lot of apologizing that went on. And you know something else? There was a pope around 3 popes ago, I think his name was John Paul. He coined a phrase which I thought was so brilliant: purification of memory. And he said, if you do not apologize for what he called a sin in your past, then you remain unconscious of the ways you repeated in the future. Now, in terms of cash versus not, there is atonement and there is amends. If you look at something like the Principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, you atone, but you make amends where possible. If you stole $1,000 from me, and then you came up to me and said, Marianne, I am so sorry that I stole that $1,000 from you, I would feel, I really appreciate your apology, and I'd also like my cash back. So the idea of making an amends in addition to atonement is the way you truly close the circle of reconciliation.